Next thing, what is an objection to a claim of exemption? Okay, good question. This happens a lot in Chapter 7 cases, sometimes in Chapter 13s. Basically what happens is when I file a bankruptcy case for somebody, I have to list all of the personal property. Everything that they own has to be listed on that Schedule B or Schedule A. Schedule A is real estate. Schedule B is personal property, meaning your stuff. If it's not real estate, it's stuff. Cars, household goods and furnishings. If you want a bowling ball, I want it listed. If you have a garden hose, I want it listed. And the reason why is you're swearing under penalty of perjury that everything's there. At the same time, you have what's called Schedule C. Schedule B C kind of works hand in hand with A and B. On A, you list your real estate. On B, you list your personal property. On C, you're showing the court how you're attempting to protect that asset. So let's say, for example, your bowling ball is worth $5. Well, I want to see it on Schedule B listed as a $5 asset, and then I want to see it on Schedule C showing that you're claiming an exemption under personal property for that bowling ball. What does that mean? That means as everything's on the table. As your attorney, I'm going through and taking things off the table. This is exempt, this is exempt, this is exempt, and I'm showing the court that you're exempting your assets in a way that they're supposed to be exempted, but really what you're doing is saying, Judge, these assets are not even up for consideration. They're not up for liquidation by the trustee because they're protected under Florida law or under the Florida Constitution, because in Florida we're considered what's called an opt-out state. We use federal law for the procedure, but the state of Florida has chosen to kind of bifurcate the law with the federal law. In other words, we use federal law for some things, and then we use Florida law for the exemptions to help process bankruptcy cases. And that's perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. That's the way it works in Florida. So then we use in Florida law to protect you. So that's why I refer to the Florida Constitution and the Florida statutes to protect those assets. So that's what exemptions are. Now, what is an objection to the exemptions? Well, if the trustee believes that I'm doing something, or I'm claiming an asset which cannot be exempt, or I'm claiming an exemption wrong. Let's say I'm claiming an exemption for personal property, but I'm using it to try to exempt a timeshare. Can't do that. Or let's say, for example, I'm using a constitutional homestead exemption to exempt a car. Obviously, you can't do that. You've got to be real careful as to where your exemptions are going. If the trustee looks at them and they think there's something wrong, then they have a duty to object to that exemption. All they're saying is, Judge, I'm objecting to this, and I want a hearing to sustain my objection or overrule my objection, but the judge is the finder of the law. The judge is going to make a determination based upon what the debtor has claimed and what the trustee has objected to. So really the trustee is trying to preserve for the estate everything that they can. When I say the estate, I mean the trustee is looking to maximize the return to the creditors or the unsecured creditors. They want to make sure that the debtor is not getting away with something. And the reason why is if I claim an exemption and the trustee does not object, and I'm wrong, I still get the exemption. So let's say, for example, my client's got $50,000 in a money market. There's no exemption under Florida law to protect that. But I list it, and I said we got $50,000 in the bank, and we're claiming an exempt under homestead. And the trustee doesn't question it, doesn't ask about it. Later, 30 days goes by, and the trustee says, hey, I want that $50,000. I can say, well, we claimed it as exempt, and you didn't object. Now, does this happen in reality? Never, not in Southwest Florida. We have very good trustees here who really pay attention to what's going on. Has it happened in other jurisdictions? Sure it has. And I think that the law is pretty clear that if the trustee does not object to that exemption, the exemption sticks, which means that the estate loses out and the trustee gets in trouble.